let's head it over to the other off-season sport. Let's go to hockey.
Yeah, it was a relatively quiet week in hockey. Sort of little brother syndrome to the NBA, which is odd because we're the older league. But the NHL just loves to kind of mirror their schedule around the basketball world. So we were also dealing with kind of end-of-season trades, freeing up some cap space around the league. And then it was draft day, draft weekend, kind of Friday and Saturday of this week. And we also got our end-of-year awards for the PWHL. That we can cover this week. But we'll start with the NHL news. Overall, the draft itself was not of a very big note for the Avs because we similarly came into it with very little in the way of draft picks.
I know how that feels.
Yeah, very similar. But prior to the draft initiating, we did make some moves to give ourselves a little bit more wiggle room here. And as we discussed, we were in the position of having too many centers all of a sudden after being in a position of always needing center depth. And we went ahead and found a way to leverage that into some draft picks and some cap wiggle room by sending Miles Wood and Charlie Coyle to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a 25 third-round pick, so that's one for this year, a conditional second-rounder in 2027, and prospect Gavin Brindley, who is a defenseman. He has played one NHL game thus far. He is only 23 years old, though, so still, plenty of time for him to blossom and develop. He has pretty big but positive notes from our scouting department, so it's a pretty good deal all around for us. The biggest takeaway from this is the $7.75 million in cap room that frees up for us.
Yeah, I think the Avs I saw had $9 million in cap room now to do some things with, so you can get one really, really good players or a couple of other players to sort of fill in the bits and pieces. And I think we have most of our good players locked up right now.
Our top six is fully penciled in now that we know Nichushkin and Landy are for sure expected to play this year. We know they will be both ready theoretically for opening night.
Landy better because he just played in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, as far as we know, everyone's healthy and hearty and ready to go for our top six. Right now, I think our only question mark in that kind of top forward group is Jonathan Drouin, who was only on a 1-year deal again. I also had some injuries this year, so I think ideally, I think he stays here, but what kind of number that'll take for both sides to be happy with it may not work out, but I don't think he gets top 6 minutes with many other teams either.
No, but best friend bonus.
You really want to keep that best friend bonus going. I certainly do. But yes, this frees up some room for the young prospects to have a little bit more potential at fitting into the bottom six. There are some rumblings about getting Bo Byram back from Buffalo because he wants out of there pretty badly and he's on a restricted free agent contract. So he's definitely not going to be signing any extensions in Buffalo. They know that. So they might be looking to make a move for him and have again been trying to. I saw an interesting one floated of which I don't think would work because I think it was Natchez and Coyle out to Buffalo for Tage Thompson and Bo Byram.
But who wins that trade? Because Natchez he's been fine at least during the regular season for sure.
The trick with that, the main reason Natchez is getting talked about moving is just the 1 year left on the deal, and wherever if you're not gonna sign an extension, then you need to get something back for his contract.
Yeah, I would say at least overall, regular season he was pretty incredible, at least for the time that we had him. He did exactly what we needed to do. Playoffs, Carolina did warn us about, very underwhelming, at least for me, and I think that's where it counts the most. I think we have enough dudes who can put the puck in the net overall, because at least when we finally got a roster together, we were scoring kind of at will, I would say, for the mostish part.
When it was clicking really well. Still not quite to that 22-year level of offensive production, but that was a pretty unique beast. I would say my biggest question mark in that theoretical deal would be the Tage Thompson, because on paper, based on the tools he has, he should be like a 50-plus goal scorer, absolute bully at the front of the net. Like most teams don't have an answer for him on the defensive side, and yet he is, I think his best scoring year, he got up to like 30-something and has not hit that mark in a couple of years.
I'm curious if he's sort of in that sort of Batman situation where he has to be the Batman, and he really is he's really a Robin playing a Batman.
That's a potential. I mean, there's certainly that kind of identity issue out in Buffalo of like, hey, who is the best player on this team, and like who's leading things along, who's going to actually do this consistently, who wants to be here for the long haul. And there has been sort of that outside pressure to be one of those guys for this franchise that it hasn't quite clicked yet. And it could just be as simple as, yeah, a change of scenery does the trick. I think we know with all the potential upsides with Bo, if anything, it's, a little worrying that he underperformed out in Buffalo, but not like it makes sense. He's on a worse team.
Yeah, I'm interested in that deal. I mean, I think the thing that the Avalanche lack the most is, of course, that front of net presence more often than not. When missing, Landy was like one of the few dudes, him and Nichushkin, who score a lot of goals for us just hanging out there. We have a lot of dudes who are quick and can do all the skills and whatnot, but we don't have a force to be reckoned with up front. So adding another one of those dudes is, in my interest at least, I'd be interested.
It would be a huge identity thing. I think right now, yeah, the biggest thing is locking down Brock Nelson as the second center kind of solidifies things in terms of center depth. We know McKinnon up top. We know Nelson now at 2. Any other centers are now going to be either 3 or 4, and that's a little bit like, I think Tage Thompson is a second center on the Buffaloes right now, so that would be a little bit of a demotion for him. For most of those like kind of big guys, they expect to be a top 6, and it's kind of like, well, we've filled all those roles already. So
maybe can he play? Can we do the Raphael Davers? Can you play another position for us?
Yeah, maybe. So let's see here. That covers our Avs moves. We have all that nice new cap room to actually be able to make some moves now in free agency. We did go ahead and take advantage of the picks we did have. We picked up that 3rd from Columbus to take Francesco Del Elche, defenseman out of the University of Massachusetts. Our 4th round pick, which was ours, we kept. We picked up Linus Funk, a defenseman from the Swedish leagues. And our 7th round pick this year was Nolan, I believe this is pronounced Roed, R-O-E-D, a forward out of the USHL. So that's one of the American minors. It's not quite juniors, but either way, one of the minors. So we did pick up our 3 prospects this year. That was kind of all the wheeling and dealing we did with and around the draft. No real immediate, like, these aren't any sort of, you got to keep an eye on this guy, he's the prize pony of the show. But as with most hockey players, they take some time to develop and blossom. So it's very rare to have the Kale McCarr who you sign out of college and is immediately a top tier level player.
To the Eagles they go.
In a couple of years, yeah, we'll probably see him up there. Yeah, we probably will not mention any of those names again for quite a while in our coverage. Other notes out of this weekend in the NHL. In principle, we have an agreement to extend the CBA for another 4 years at the end of its current run. It is scheduled to expire September of 26, so the 4-year bump runs us through 2030 on the existing bargaining agreement with some expected changes. None of these are 100% official yet because the NHL was very clear they have not released any of the specific details yet to all like the owners and the NHLPA. So some of the details may change a little bit, but all the insiders agree that the change is coming. We're looking at 2 more regular season games, 2 less preseason games, so 84 regular season and 4 preseason games. We're looking at 1 year less on max contracts for teams. So currently, if you are re-signing a player or offering him an extension, you can offer him 8 years max, and free agents can be offered 7 years max. That will go down to 7 years for extensions and 6 years for free agents. They're going to relax the player dress code, and they're looking at closing the long-term injured reserve playoff loophole once and for all. They are going to start enforcing a salary cap in the playoffs, essentially. So that'll be an interesting one for certain teams in the Central.
I was about to say, I'm interested to see how they do that because I kind of like the baseball rule a little bit for how players work and who's playoff eligible. I'm surprised they don't do that with
Which element of the baseball ones are you thinking
Like
of?
you got to be on the roster at this time to be eligible to play in the playoffs. Like I think that should be a thing.
That is an interesting one, but I can see the issues on both sides of it. Because, in baseball, traditionally it's if you're not on the roster by September 1st, you're not eligible to play in October, which would have meant Landy could not have played for us in the playoffs this year, despite being available to. But I think it's just become such a recurring issue where at least one, if not two or three teams have been taking advantage of it every year for like the last 5 years.
Yeah, and I think we should be, when I say like on the roster, like you just accounting for his salary somewhere on the roster, that should be fine. He doesn't have to go play, but as long as you're accounted for that, which I think the Avalanche did for the...
No, that's why we waited for the playoffs because we stacked up at the trade deadline.
Yeah, that's right. We did did take advantage of that this year.
Yep, we were one of the culprits, along with Dallas, along with Vegas again. So I think our division in particular has been doing it a lot, but Tampa did it the year before we won the Cup with Kucherov. It's been around for a while. But yes, it will essentially be, I believe, the proposed format is going to be that you can kind of juggle out anyone into your roster the same way you are allowed to do, but they do have to fit under whatever the salary cap is for whichever roster configuration you submit. So that will be a little bit of the changes to the ruling there. Just the other overall note for the draft, the NHL tried to shake it up this year and make the television event more watchable.
What is that even? What were they doing so poorly before? Like, it's not you do the thing, go up, you shake the hands, you dap up, walk off.
Yeah, you'd think.
And then you have the desk up front who does all the commentating. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Actually, it's even easier for them. You put Biz up there with his guys. Like he's the entertainment value you need.
Yeah, you could do that if you were smart about it. But no, what the NHL did, they instead of doing the traditional format of a centralized draft at a location, normally it's like in Toronto or Quebec or something, you get everyone to fly in their teams to the one location.
It's huge excitement. That's what everyone's been waiting for.
And then you get to see the prospects walk up on stage, don their jersey.
I'm better than you. I'm better than you.
Yep. Now this year they said, we're going to do a decentralized draft. You guys can phone it in. We're going to Zoom it. And so the Avs had theirs set up in the locker room, which was not the worst. It's a sad, weird vibe, but
we have sad players.
I mean, it's a nice locker room. We just renovated it.
It's the
whole affair though had weird vibes all around it. So the picks, the prospects themselves were at the NHL studio wherever they were filming and getting brought up to a microphone as they would on a big grand stage event, but without any sort of audience. And then we're getting put on Zoom calls with the team that had just drafted them and doing very awkward delayed Zoom interviews. So not a real home run of a production from the NHL, and almost certainly not to be repeated.
NHL, reach out to us. We can do events.
Give us the budget. We will make sure it is entertaining and informative.
Easy.
Promise. And that is, I believe, all the NHL news to cover. And then we can get to who won which awards for the PWHL this season. We did talk about a few of these as they were announced at the end of the year, mostly the point scoring one. We know that Marie-Philippe Poulin got most points this season. Hilary Knight had most goals. And then we knew that Anne-Renee Desbiens had won goaltender of the year.
Yes.
To pile on to that, we will start with the all-rookie team. And that was, of course, Britta Curl from Minnesota, Sarah Fillier from New York, and Jen Gardner from Montreal on the forward bunch. Kayla Barnes from Montreal and Anna Wilgren, both from the Montreal Victoire, as the rookie defenders, and Gwyneth Phillips, no question, rookie goaltender of the year. The all-star team, Sarah Fillier, Hilary Knight, and Marie-Philippe Poulin are the starting all-star forwards. Renata Fast and Sophie Jakes in the starting defender spot, and Anne-Renee Desbiens gets the first all-star team nod. A very good year for Sarah Fillier in her first campaign. Really fulfilled her first pick overall kind of pedigree there. and gets rewarded with that rookie and first-team All-Star nod. We also had the Coach of the Year. The nominees were all of the Canadian team coaches because the American team coaches were, we had Boston, who didn't qualify, Minnesota, who was already the champions, and New York, who also didn't qualify.
It's all right. We have representation. We have.
It's true. I think the
especially since all the teams are
a
brand
lot
new
of shuffle happened in the interim here. But our Coach of the Year award does go to Corey Chevry of the Montreal Victoire, a very talented team who I think were still only third or fourth last season. Pretty much the same core, and she turned them into a regular season winning machine.
I was about to say, up until the very end,
regular
when it really
season
mattered.
award for sure. Rookie of the Year, Sarah Fillier, we already covered that. Goaltender of the Year, Anne-Renee Desbiens, covered that. In a very strong year for goaltenders, the finalists, Desbiens, Frankel, and Phillips, all putting up outstanding efforts. Our Defender of the Year was Renata Fast of the Toronto Scepters. She had 22 points in 30 games compared to MVP Marie-Philippe Poulain's 29 points, not far off, and from the back end, you will take that every time. And then, yes, MVP and Forward of the Year, Marie-Philippe Poulain, an absolute banner year for her after a relatively she was still solid in that premier season last year, but not quite the level we knew she was capable of. This was Captain Clutch, kind of heads and shoulders. If you don't know who she is before you start watching, she's the type of player that makes you go, oh, who is that? Because she's much better than everyone else out there.
She did have like you said, a banner season. I mean, if you know or watch hockey, you know her name, especially now. She even during national.
Yeah,
play,
has already had
incredible.
a storied Olympics and international career, and now just going to keep adding to the story in the PWHL era. So yeah, that was our end of year awards for a very exciting second campaign in the PWHL. And again, we look forward to year number 3 with a whopping 8 teams now.
Don't worry, Siren are coming, baby. This year's the year.
I got good hopes on them. Yeah, they're looking like the progress is all heading in the right direction. But we really won't know because so many faces will be in new places when we come back to the PWHL.
It's crazy when you just have that single billionaire.
It's a little wild, but we'll follow along and get used to it. It's just don't invest in player specific jerseys yet because they keep moving around pretty often.
It's like every couple years right now.
Yeah,
so.
we'll see. But I believe that is all the hockey news for this week.